Hi, this is Harold Ross. Thanks for joining me. Recently, I decided to demonstrate the lighting of a still life for my students. We have regular Zoom meetings every few weeks, and I wanted to demonstrate the photographing and lighting of this beautiful vintage continuity tester. I wanted to provide my students with some nuanced information about lighting, specifically how to light different areas in an image. Additionally, I wanted to offer them some good overall tips on techniques, including things to try to accomplish and things to try to avoid. Of course, these are all topics I cover in my comprehensive video course, but there's nothing quite like experiencing them firsthand, and I really enjoy doing this at our regular live Zoom meetings. I also love to answer questions and address any concerns my students may have. This is the final image, but during the lighting demonstration, I covered the following points. Here, I'm using a light wand that I designed, which is great for metallic and highly reflective subjects, as well as creating fill light. In this sequence, I showed my students how to light small details that we might like to highlight. I'm demonstrating an improper holding of the light, followed by the proper way to hold the light. With this method of holding, you're less likely to bump your subjects. Remember that we'll be masking this image. Here, I'm demonstrating something I call cheating the light. I'm lighting from an angle which is not the same as our default lighting angle for the rest of the image. Sometimes we have to do this, but then we can edit and mask to make the light appear as though it's coming from the correct angle. Here, I'm using a technique that I teach called cutting the light, which allows us to isolate certain elements more easily in editing. In this sequence, I'm lighting the shadow side of the box from an unexpected angle to ensure that we get great color and texture in that capture. Lighting the front of the box, or what I call the stage, should be done in a certain way. We want to end up with great texture and color. We also would like to have a softer shadow. And here I'm using a small probe that I designed to illuminate the light bulb, so we don't need to illuminate the light bulb itself. The light probe fits on the same adapter that we use for the main lighting diffusers. This was a very fun demonstration, and my students learned a lot from it. During the follow-up Zoom meeting, I actually put the image together live for my students so that they could see exactly how I think when I'm working through the editing process. I did the editing cold, that is, without prior planning or any practice. I simply opened the images in Photoshop and worked through my normal editing process. I find this to be a fun challenge, and it certainly brings up lots of great questions from my students. The masking techniques I employ and teach are actually quite simple, yet very powerful. And I give my students specific masking exercises to help build the muscle memory needed to do this efficiently. It's all about being true to the shape of the subject and enhancing depth through what I call sculptural masking. Each element or part of an element is handled separately, which makes the process easier, and surprisingly, it's a lot of fun. The end result is one with a tremendous amount of depth, dimension, and detail. I sometimes refer to this as my 3Ds. Depth, as I describe it, refers to the apparent dimensionality between the front elements and the back elements of an image. Light painting can really help us enhance that. Dimension, on the other hand, encompasses the sculptural form of each element within the image. And lastly, detail essentially refers to texture and beautiful details that can be brought out when skimming light effectively through light painting. Here's the final image. I couldn't be more delighted with it. I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at my image-making process. If you'd like to learn more, consider taking my very comprehensive online video course. Or at least check out the very impressive work of my students at the links below. Thanks so much for watching, and always remember, skim the light.